Imagine holding the title of the worst president in US history. This dubious honor, according to US News Worst Presidents rankings, goes to none other than James Buchanan. His presidency is often criticized for its failure to prevent the secession of the southern states and his lack of action on the pressing issue of slavery. Historians frequently rank him as one of the poorest leaders in American history, a position solidified by his controversial tenure. Yet, Buchanan wore this title, not with pride, but with a trail of unaddressed issues and missteps. To understand why Buchanan has been so poorly rated, we must rewind the clock to his presidency. The year was 1857, and James Buchanan had just taken office. In his inaugural address, he made a somewhat unusual promise, declaring his intent to serve just one term. A time of great disturbance lay ahead for the nation. The issue of slavery and the very nature of the Union were causing significant unrest. Despite the growing crisis, Buchanan seemed unable or unwilling to take decisive action. Instead, his presidency was marked by a series of half measures and missed opportunities. Fast forward to 1860, and the presidential election was in full swing. Republican nominee Abraham Lincoln, a staunch opponent of slavery's expansion, emerged victorious. In response to Lincoln's triumph, 7 southern states declared their secession from the Union. Faced with this unprecedented crisis, Buchanan refused to confront the seceded states with military force. His inaction during this critical period allowed these states to consolidate their positions, further escalating the crisis. Despite retaining control of Fort Sumter, Buchanan's reluctance to act decisively against the secessionists only deepened the nation's divisions. As the clock ticked down on Buchanan's presidency, the nation was on the brink of civil war. His failure to forestall the secession of southern states or adequately address the issue of slavery would forever mark his presidency as one of the worst in American history. The Buchanan presidency ended, but not without leaving its mark. A mark, it seems, of failure and missed opportunities. James Buchanan, the 15th president, stands as a glaring example of how not to lead a nation. He is often remembered for his lack of action on the most pressing issue of his time, slavery. Instead of using his presidential power to confront this moral and political crisis, he shied away, leading to the secession of southern states. His inability to prevent this rupture in the Union is seen as a major failing. Furthermore, his passivity in the face of the impending Civil War is another blot on his presidency. Instead of acting decisively to prevent the war, he left the task to his successor, Abraham Lincoln. This inaction resulted in the outbreak of the American Civil War shortly after he left office. And so James Buchanan's legacy was sealed as the worst US president in history.